I don't say something about the pool or something like that, like that doesn't, unless y'all want to do not the role playing part. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're back.
Okay.
So what are your plans here?
Well, they're putting like an awning, so they just had to still have to put the metal.
Right, before they put
The last time.
Very nice.
Yeah, when we saw this property, we fell in love with the view and the location, so we've kind of backwards engineered the house to
Well,
meet
it's
that.
definitely, I can see where, this is what I call, when I talk to clients, that this is like a legacy home, where you buy it and you live, forever. And if you had kids, they grow up and they all want to come back and things like that. And it all becomes, where you want to have the quality of life for the rest of your life. And, this is beautiful. And I already can see, morning coffees here and lunches outside in the patio, and your dog's enjoying it too, right?
She loves it here.
Great. Any future plans or any challenge that you're having with the house?
Well, the only thing is the lot it's an acre. It's big, but it's quite narrow. So we're thinking of expanding the driveway a little, so you can actually sort of not do a 62-point turn there.
Right.
When we put in the gate, that's still not quite done yet.
So my thought is that your lot isn't really narrow per se. It's just that your house has used all the lots that you have.
Right.
And so what I hear you're saying is that you actually don't have a garage. You just have this.
So when we bought it, they had built that. I guess that was the original garage, and then they had put a second garage here that we ended up tearing down, and they turned it into like game room. So we just kind of went with that. And Carlos has used this as his workout room, which I'm happy to not have in the middle of the house.
So this concrete was already here.
Yes.
Okay, there's a little bit of an elevation.
There is, and we have a little settling in the house, and we had a couple of people come out and do a study, and they said it hasn't settled in a long time. There was some original settling, but it seems to be.
Well, part of the purpose of doing this annual reviews is for me, like I can see what you're saying right now. I see that cracking there, and I can tell you that a lot of times people get a lot more worried than they need to be about it, and if I came back next year and I saw the same type of cracking, the same type of movement, I can give you that same encouragement that, don't start spending money on this just yet. There's an escalational process. Like if you did have foundation issue, the first thing to do is just to measure it, like just to pay attention to it.
Right.
And then the first escalation is, what do you do with the water control? And so what you did right here with the downspout going onto the driveway, now once it's on the driveway, it's going to go further down, that's your first move, like that gutter, putting that gutter up there.
Okay, yeah, we added all the gutters when we moved in. There weren't any.
Right, and if you didn't have gutters, I would prescribe that. I wouldn't say do the gutters this year, but we would keep an eye on that crack, and if it starts showing worse, your first prescription would have been gutters. So you're kind of already ahead of the ball game here. You already got that taken care of. The second prescription would be where the gutter water goes, Third, we might do soaker hoses or sprinkler system. I see you already have that, so you're kind of ahead of the ball game there too.
Right.
And it might be years before enough movement occurs that you're like paying for a foundation company to come in and make, sure up. And my thought is that I see the deflection of the roof a little bit. My thought is that at that point this is cosmetic, and what I would say is that you might spend money on a foundation person to stabilize this one edge. You might not ever feel the need to spend that money, like putting more driveway might be a better use of
I mean,
money.
that's the one thing is we don't really have a garage, and we're never sure if that is going to be.
So this is tricky because either you snake all the way through and park way over there, and then you have to trek back to your house, or you just expand this a little bit more to have that turnaround.
That's kind of where we're headed, because garages are way more expensive than I thought.
Yeah, I used to
spend that money on my
quote the most simple garage on a slab without the driveway, like starts at $16,000 to $24,000, and then by the time you add the driveway and all that, you're probably But if you wanted a garage apartment, you know, up there in the studio, you might get that.
Kind of have a lot more space than we would use. But yes,
so
that is the vision.
You find a house a little bit larger than what you
it's definitely larger than what we probably would have if we just bought it for the two of us. But, you know, we have a lot of parties and house guests and stuff, so it works out.
Oh, great. I do want to ask you, I mean, it looks like it's pristine in every way. I mean, it's like
we did the stucco reso. Yes,
okay.
that was that kind of wood.
Okay.
And so this is the addition, but that was all that.
Yeah. The stucco looks so new. I was wondering if it was new or if you just had repainted it.
So ironically, even this house from the 70s, it had this sort of, it had a turret and all, and we barely changed the facade other than to raise the door. Mm-hmm. So it had that wood, and we just kind of went with it.
And what is this is this like a storage?
So we had these 2 storage units added, and for whatever reason, our contractor put glass doors there, and so I'm still trying to argue that out with him, but
well, so
it's not the most convenient. I think we're just gonna put a curtain, like little blinds.
What we've done in our house is that there's one that you spray on, but it won't last very long. So you can spray on, and then eventually it starts. Every time you touch it from the inside, it starts rubbing off. But there's also like contact paper that you can stick on the glass from the inside.
Like frosting.
Yeah, and it just creates enough of frosting. Because I do think it looks from here, if it was frosted and I couldn't see that with storage, it's attractive.
I mean, that was the goal, and sometimes people actually try to walk in there.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're giving them too much to drink, right? Well, show me. Is there anything else about the house that is going on that? It looks like you're really on top of everything. Is there any other plans or any other? Hello.
Oh hey. You're the cool guy.
So this is your.
Yeah, this is Oscar. He's my kind of old man.
Man, this kitchen is gorgeous.
Well, our last house had one of those narrow kitchens where everyone got stuck and it would get like 200 degrees, and so.
I love the choice. So this
is
all.
We wanted something that was more open and would keep that.
And you cook a lot, or?
It's a little bit of false advertising. My husband's Harvard buddy works there. Got a small half off, so.
So can I get half off?
Totally.
I'm looking to upgrade my stuff. This is a lot of good. So did you design all this, or did Carl come?
It was sort of a mix of working with Carl and then picking the appliances and kind of. But yeah, he had some great ideas.
Debbie's husband for that reason.
About the decks and this office in the middle, because we ended up. This used to be the old kitchen that had no windows. And so we had this sort of odd space in the middle. So he put the bar, it was like a pantry and office. So
that become your butler?
Yeah. So we make coffee here.
And the truth is that kitchen makes this house and makes this room, because I imagine with such a nice view and a pool and Greenbelt that this is where you would really want to spend your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we have a lot of parties here.
That's a nice fan too. I really like all the details. It would be definitely a house that I would love to show clients and have people come and see it, because everything all these are details that people think about but they can't put together necessarily, and so including just simple things like which doors to pick, like do they pick this panel doors with this type of
it was a little overwhelming at times, picking all the finishes.
And you did it all. I mean, I guess you.
Yeah. So this is like our pantry, which I love.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Don't judge us.
This is like the envy everyone probably loves.
Party center. Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
This is great. Yes, I have a 5,000 square feet house, and I don't have a pantry this big, and
I know, and they kept fighting me, and I kept insisting, but it's awesome. You just store everything. Like
yes, that's the one thing I don't find enough of is storage.
Storage, yes.
So why did you? Oh, was that originally how the steps were?
Yes.
You added this one because that doesn't. Because
Carlos said he couldn't possibly walk over there.
I get that. So when you bought the house, the only way to get upstairs was that circle.
Yes.
That is a little.
It's a little, well, but when the bedroom's right here, it's not quite so bad. You know, it was like the master used to be right here, so it wasn't as far. I mean, it's like 10 more feet, I guess, but yeah.
No, but what I meant was, like, it's not a very traditional type of staircase. And so,
No, not at all. Yeah.
It is not quite one of those clerical, or you know, the ones that are like hard to navigate.
Yes,
This
it's
is
pretty wide, but
pretty
yeah,
wide.
it's definitely when you put in a modern staircase, you realize how like the
Convenient.
codes have improved and everything's better.
Oh, good. Well, the place looks really, really good. You know, if there's anything I ever can do to give you advice, it seems like you got that all taken care of.
Well, we love the neighborhood. We put probably more into it than we should have, but I think.
Well, are you looking to like, you know, you're not looking to flip this, so
No.
this is really for your own, like, long term.
We just want to make sure we don't overinvest.
Well, so my parents, for example, they bought a house in a neighborhood that we were concerned about.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, they're going to live there until they die there. You know, so.
I mean, I'll live here until the property taxes just officially kill me.
Yeah. Well, you know, I joke that they're going to have to take me out of my house in a box. You know, so you know, when you look at it that way, you're not looking at resale. You're looking at how do you create more enjoyability and things.
We love it. I mean, we can stay, we will stay.
Good. Well, you know, I didn't notice any, you know, movement or concerns in foundation here.
There's a little bit in the rooms, maybe I can show you. So some of these.
Are you concerned about it in any way? I did see that hairline crack right over here, but I think you're going to have that always.
It's just this corner has a little bit of settling.
Okay.
We had the baseline test done, and then they came back this year and followed up. And you can walk in and you can just feel it.
And you this was a floor you got everywhere.
Yes, and when the flood came and we had moved everything.
Oh, I feel it a little bit.
Yeah, it's subtle.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just something to monitor.
You know, I have clients who've had a house that they get really nervous when they move in because there's a movement like that. And then every year I come by and eventually after a certain amount of time, they're good with it. And what I've learned is that, you know, it's all about the quality of life that you can have here. So are you not enjoying this room? No. So you're in good shape. And what I was going to say, because you replaced this floor already, when you get a crack like that, especially when you have a house addition here, I've had my tile guys run a seam right there on purpose.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
because
we've had a few cracks, but
it's just going to happen. And my thinking is that.
I mean, there's a few kind of starting, but they warned me that this big tile was kind of prone to this.
Well, you ought to have something go right along here.
Okay.
And so here you can barely see that hairline. And I've seen people actually do this where they run the tile straight at first. And then because the crack comes up, what they do is that they have someone cut and then they put something decorative.
Okay.
Exactly.
We just hide it with the dog gate.
Right, exactly. You really don't have to worry about that, you know, for many years. Well, you know, the other things that we cover in an annual review is you know what your insurance situation is and whether you're looking at refinancing or taxes. Do you have any concerns there?
No.
Well, let me show you what I brought.
Do you want to come in here and sit?
Sure. Let me grab this and then.